The gentleman from Arlington, Mr. Lopez.
Thank you, Speaker. I rise for a point of personal privilege.
Gentleman may proceed.
Thank you, Speaker. As my friend, the gentleman from Henrico, alluded to, today marks the last day of President Obama's extraordinary tenure as our Commander-in-Chief. His calm in difficult situations, his core values, his principles, his temperament have been well suited to the presidency, and he has made us incredibly proud. When Barack Obama was sworn in 8 years ago, America faced as perilous a time as we'd seen in decades. The Great Recession was beginning to become a deep depression. The American auto industry was on the brink of collapse. In some communities, nearly 1 in 5 Americans were out of work. Nearly 180,000 American troops were serving in harm's way in Iraq and Afghanistan, and Osama bin Laden was still free. The U.S. financial structure was in free fall, nearly bringing the nation's banking, investment, and credit systems to a halt. President Obama righted the ship through a stimulus package, including infrastructure improvements, expanded relief of failing banks and investment firms, and the bailout of the American auto industry. 8 years later, and an economy that was shrinking at more than 8%, is now growing at more than 3%. Businesses that were losing hundreds of thousands of jobs a month have since unleashed the longest streak of private sector job creation on record. The auto industry has come back with record sales, saving 1 million jobs across the country and fueling a manufacturing sector that, after a decade of decline, has added new jobs for the first time since the 1990s. And wages have grown faster over the past few years than at any time in the past 40. Since signing the Recovery Act in 2009, the economy has added 15.5 million new jobs. The unemployment rate, which hit a sustained peak of about 10% in 2009, has dropped to 4.6% as of November of 2016. Before the Obama administration, Americans were using more energy every year. Now we use less energy overall, and more of that energy is clean. Oil imports are down 60% from 2008. Solar energy installations are up nearly 2,000%, and carbon emissions have dropped even as the economy is growing. He doubled the fuel efficiency standards for cars, and with the fuel efficiency standard for commercial air conditioners, he single-handedly reduced the U.S. energy use by 1%. The Obama administration has cracked down on for-profit diploma mills, investment advisors with conflicts of interest, credit card companies can no longer impose hidden fees, and markets no longer believe the biggest banks are too big to fail. Today, thanks to the Affordable Care Act, another 20 million American adults know the financial security and peace of mind that comes with health insurance. Another 3 million children have gained health insurance, and today, more Americans are insured than ever. Every American with insurance is covered by the strongest set of consumer protections in history, and insurers can no longer deny coverage for pre-existing conditions. The high school graduation rate is now 83%, the highest on record, and more people, young people, graduate from college than ever before. At the same time, apprenticeships have grown, more schools are connected to broadband internet, and the student loan program has been overhauled and reformed. The poverty rate fell at the fastest rate in almost 50 years, while median household income grew at the fastest rate on record. President Obama did all of this while cutting the deficit, even as he protected investments to grow the middle class. President Obama also worked to make the changing face of America more fair and more just, including significant strides towards criminal justice reform, progress towards equal pay, repealing Don't Ask, Don't Tell, and advancing the cause of civil rights, women's rights, and LGBT rights. He appointed 2 extraordinary women to the U.S. Supreme Court, marking the first time in history that 3 women sit on the bench, including the first Latina. And today in America, marriage equality is finally a reality across all 50 states. This is just a short list of where we stand after 8 years of progress. By so many measures, the U.S. is stronger and more prosperous than it was when President Obama was inaugurated. He brought stability to the economy, to the job market, to the housing market, to the auto industry, and to the banks. That's what he's handing over to this new administration, an economy that is in far better form than it was when he took over. You can also say that he'll be remembered for his dignity, his grace, the lack of scandal in his administration, and his refusal to debase political discourse. He made the White House a place that belongs to everybody. A new generation sets its sights higher because it has President Obama as a role model. And for that, he deserves all of our thanks. He said recently, "You have to believe, not in my ability to bring about change, but in yours. Hold fast to that faith written to our founding documents, that idea whispered by slaves and abolitionists, that spirit sung by immigrants and homesteaders, and those who marched for justice, that creed reaffirmed by those who planted flags from foreign battlefields to the surface of the moon, a creed at the core of every American whose story is not yet written. Yes, we can." Thank you, Mr. Speaker.